and basically for the win right then, too. And he ends up off the medal post, and one off the medal was Victor Perez, who put a charge into the French crowd with an incredible rally. He was 6 over par for a 5-hole stretch and finished just one shot out of medal position as he finished fourth, but put an absolutely sensational show on. His 63 was second only to Scheffler's 62. Tommy Fleetwood got the silver. He was the one we were rooting for, and he's a popular player. He's come close in so many of these big events. Time after time, he's been in contention. He hasn't bagged one. He's had great moments at the Ryder Cup. He's won a race to Dubai. He's won multiple tournaments, many tournaments on the DP World Tour, but he has yet to win in America. And he came up just short down the stretch, bogeying the 17th hole and not being able to birdie the 18th and get in a playoff for the gold with Scottie Scheffler. Still a great performance for Fleetwood to win the silver. Up and down the lineup, basically all kinds of great stories and people's different kinds of emotions. It was a fantastic event. The French fans, France is not a particularly avid golf country. In fact, Victor Perez, who is French, as mentioned, he moved to Scotland a few years ago because he said he wanted to be immersed in a culture that appreciated golf. And afterwards he was talking about how he wanted to help the world of golf in France. They have never had a major winner in this century, or really in modern golf, and they haven't had very many high finishes even, and Victor Perez looks like he may be a player who can provide at least some of those. But the big story, once again, is Scottie Scheffler. He cemented his standing as tops in all of golf. He's at the top of the golf world. If Xander Schauffele had been able to get the job done, and he was right in the mix, in fact, playing in the final group on Sunday. If he had won this, there would have been some discussion, amazingly, about the player of the year, but Schauffele faded badly, in fact, worse than Rahm, although he faded all day. Rahm surged, and then he faded. But Scheffler, number one in the world, now with 6 wins on the year, a Masters championship, a gold medal. Just a fantastic year for Scheffler. He's matter-of-fact when he speaks, but you saw the emotions. He started crying, and it really was an emotional time for him with his young baby along and his whole family over there. So very, very cool scenes as far as golf is concerned at the Olympics. It was really, really entertaining, enjoyable, fascinating, dramatic, everything you could mention. Now, the rest of the Olympics, I have so many things that I'd like to watch, and every night I go through and say, well, I might watch that sometime, and I save it, and I might watch that sometime, and I save it, and I haven't gotten to a whole lot besides watching the golf and trying to keep up on all kinds of other things, but now we're into track and field, and I love that, and my wife and I are going to watch a lot of track and field over the next week or so. And you have to feel for NBC announcer Lee Diffie. He's Australian, I think, or New Zealandish. I think he's Australian for sure. And he does a great job on the track and field. He's enthusiastic, he's informed, but he missed his call in the 100 meters, which of course is one of the most significant events at the Olympics. This one on the men's side, as he incorrectly identified Kashane Thompson as Jamaica as the winner of the 100 meters, and it was a photo finish, and the photo finish went to American sprinter Noah Lyles, who was at the top of the heap in the 100 meters now in the world, and the quote was, the men's 100 was epic and closest of all time. My eyes and instinct told me Kashane Thompson had won, and that's what he did with his call, and he got it wrong, and he admitted it afterwards. Well, he had to admit it afterwards, but it was really a shame because the guy's done such a fantastic job, and Lyles becomes the first American to win the event since Justin Gatlin 20 years ago, and he'll try to make it a sweep later this week when he goes for gold in the 200 meters. Some people, my friend Joe Spiker, who is from Easton Roofing, and he always jokes with me that he's not the biggest fan of the Olympics because he's like, well, am I supposed to get excited about watching people exercise? Well, basically, we argue about that, but it's funny. Track and field is kind of like watching people exercise, but basically every sport is people exercising. They just maybe have added a ball or a stick or a pole vault or whatever to the occasion. So anyway, I do love the Olympics. It's amazing in this day and age. Before they just, you'd see your 4 hours of coverage at night and they'd pick it for you and you'd get whatever was given to you. Well, now you can watch anything you want. And I have 100 things in my DVR every day that's sitting there if I want to watch it. That's been pretty amazing as far as watching the Olympics is concerned. But I feel bad for Lee Diffie, and I'll continue to enjoy his commentary on NBC on the track and field. The Chiefs are going through the paces. It's finally super hot in St. Joe, and they certainly have some injuries that they are dealing with right now. They had a day off Saturday. They had some lighter practice on Sunday, a 10-10-10 practice, which is basically 10 plays, 10 plays, 10 plays. And a lot of those are focused on the deep passing game, so there's been fun there, and they've completed a lot of long passes so far. Special teams working on the new kickoff rules, and we saw that that can be maybe not as exciting as the NFL thought it might be, and they're still adjusting to all that. But I guess so far, after a really good start, the story at Chiefs camp has been the injury and the injury report. And in this particular practice on Sunday, Kadarius Toney didn't practice, Nick Bolton, Kelvin Joseph, and wide receiver Jaron Hayek. That's a little less significant, obviously. But some players returned, too. Wide receiver Justin Watson did. Najee Johnson, the cornerback, came back. Deion Bush participated in Saturday's practice. But there are people who haven't practiced at all, like Justin Reed, and, of course, defensive end Charles Omenihu and Derek Nottie are still on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. So some deals as far as injuries are concerned, but they're working through the paces. Still a month to go before they're going to get started. And the 13th practice of training camp is going on right now as I tape this up at St. Joe, and they're there till, I think, the 18th of August. So anyway, the Chiefs going through the paces, and it doesn't count right now, but here we are in August, and the baseball games really count for the Kansas City Royals, and that makes things extra fun. So thanks to David Lesky again from Inside the Crown, and always thanks to Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. They're your sponsors for Monday Musings, Danny and Friends Sports Wrap, always presented by those guys, ASFCA.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, with 8 convenient locations in the Kansas City metro. Dr. Brad Woodall and his friendly team will improve your health and outlook with every visit. Find out more at asfca.com/Danny.